Welcome to the Bible Investigation Open Case Bible Study. The Clean versus the Unclean. Part 3.
Welcome back to the Bible Investigation Open Case Bible Study. Yes, and this is the Dietary Law Part 3, the Clean versus the Unclean. This part is we're gonna really dive in reading what we cannot eat, for is the birds and the fowls, the creepy things. In part 1, we went over what we can and cannot eat in the seas, and in part 2, we talked about the beasts in the field that we can and cannot eat. In this part, like I said, we're gonna go over the fowls, the birds, eagles, all that, and then also we're gonna go over the creepiest things. So that's gonna be included for part 3, and then part 4 I'm gonna try to finish it all. If not, then it's gonna be a part 5. But the reason why I do these parts, because like the Bible says, here little, there little, precept upon precept, and I like to include when we do a study of a case, I like to include documents. I like to include videos, so you have an idea that is much more in depth of research of when man they do studies and studies on, and it's like, okay, God already told you from the beginning why on the things what you should and should not eat, and he gave us laws in the dietary law to follow by. And God, he never fails. He never fails. Everything he said that was unclean, man doing research and see a lot of studies and finding studies on diseases for the pigs, for his what else, the lobster, the crabs. They are bottom feeders. And also I talked about how it all comes to how the body of the animal digest and process their food. You don't want to eat something that doesn't digest their food all the way. Nah. And see, in God, it's like he already knows. So, like I said before, we shouldn't doubt God. But let me stop talking, and we're going to go and read Leviticus 11, chapter 11, verses 13 through 23. Let's get it popping.
Leviticus 11:13-20. And these are they which ye shall have in abomination among the fowls. They shall not be eaten, they are an abomination, the eagle, and the arsaphage, and the osprey, and the vulture, and the kite after his kind, every raven after his kind, and the owl, and the night hawk, and the cuckoo, and the hawk after his kind, and the little owl, and the cormorant, and the great owl, and the swan, and the pelican, and the gee-eagle, and the stork, the heron after her kind, and the lapwing, and the bat. 20 all fowls that creep, going upon all four, shall be an abomination unto you.
Leviticus 11, verses 13 through 20. I know I said 13 through 23. I do apologize. It's actually 13 through 20. What we're going to do is I got some videos of some of these unclean animals, of the reason why we cannot eat them. So I wanted to say, brace yourselves. If you do not have a strong stomach, I would suggest to fast forward this. I will try to come back, and I know I'm going to add. I'm going to do an editing and come back and tell you which part you could skip through to get to the next part, which is I'm going to continue on with the scripture so we could finish the dietary law. Well, we ain't gonna be finished in part 3, but part 4 we definitely be finished it. But we're gonna go ahead and dive on through. All right.
Vultures' faces and large intestines are covered with bacteria that is toxic to most other creatures, but these birds of prey have evolved a strong gut that helps them not get sick from feasting on rotting flesh, according to a new study. In the first analysis of bacteria living on vultures, the study's researchers found that these scavengers are laden with flesh-degrading fusobacteria and poisonous Clostridia. As bacteria decompose a dead body, they excrete toxic chemicals that make the carcass a perilous meal for most animals. But vultures often wait for decay to set in, giving them easy access to dead animals with tough skins. Moreover, vultures will often pick at a dead animal through its back end, that is, the anus, to get at the tasty entrails. Their diet may be filled with toxic bacteria and putrid feces, but vultures are apparently immune to these deadly microbes, the researchers said. Our results show there has been strong adaptation in vultures when it comes to dealing with the toxic bacteria they digest, Michael Roggenbach, a researcher of microbiology at the University of Copenhagen, said in a statement. To sample the vultures' bacterial communities, called microbiomes, the team captured and euthanized 26 black vultures, Corygyps atratus, and 24 turkey vultures, Cathartes aura, in Nashville, Tennessee. Autopsies and DNA tests revealed the bacteria that lived on the birds' faces and large intestine. Like other vertebrates, vultures had more types of bacteria on their faces than in their guts, 528 different types of microorganisms compared with 76. The DNA of their prey was broken down in the vulture's gut bacterial samples, which suggests the birds have harsh chemical conditions in their gastrointestinal (GI) tracts, the researchers found. The acidic GI tract also filters out many microorganisms that live on decaying carrion, so the large intestines have large amounts of Clostridia and fusobacteria. On one hand, vultures have developed an extremely tough digestive system, which simply acts to destroy the majority of the dangerous bacteria they ingest, Roggenbach said. On the other hand, vultures also appear to have developed a tolerance towards some of the deadly bacteria. Species that would kill other animals actively seem to flourish in the vulture lower intestine. Both Clostridia and fusobacteria appear to have adapted to the vulture's harsh gut conditions, but may also help the birds by further breaking down nutrients, the researchers said. The scientists also examined fecal samples from captive turkey vultures and other birds, such as the red-tailed hawk and African spotted owl, at the Copenhagen Zoo. Although the zoo animals had similar diets, the fecal bacteria from captive vultures more closely resembled the microbiomes of their brethren in the wild than it did their avian relatives in the zoo, the researchers found. The vultures' bacterial similarities indicate that their digestive system has more influence on gut bacteria than diet does, the researchers said. The findings suggest the relationship between microbes and vulture digestion is more complicated than previously thought, the researchers said. Birds are one of the most beautiful and clean animals. You might see them clean always. But sometimes, their activities might make you feel disgusting. For example, birds often eat their baby's poop. Generally, we don't see other animals eating the poop of their babies for fellow. But when we observe birds doing this, it might seem dirty. But one of the main reasons is keeping clean. Because, if mother birds don't clean their baby's poop, the nest will remain dirty. Now you might think about why mother birds don't remove and throw away the poop. You might be confused why mother birds eat the gross. Because baby birds can't digest the food well. So, nutrition is still present in the poop. That's why mother birds try to recycle the nutrition from the poop.
I hope you wasn't grossed out by that. That's pretty much, well, I tried to find videos what I can, for is to allow me to, to share on YouTube. So those are flying fowls in the air that we cannot eat. So we're gonna continue on Leviticus 11 verses 21, and it said, "Yet these may ye eat of every flying creeping thing that goeth upon all four, which have legs above their feet, to leap without wither upon the earth." So those are your chickens and your turkeys. Okay. So I am going to show you, well, it's pretty much documentation on the chicken on how their digestive works. Okay. And I'm going to try to find a clip with the turkey as well. So let's get it popping. Let's go ahead and
The chicken has a typical avian digestive system. In chickens, the digestive tract, also referred to as the gastrointestinal tract or GI tract, begins at the mouth, includes several important organs, and ends at the cloaca. As with most birds, a chicken obtains feed by using its beak. Food picked up by the beak enters the mouth. Chickens do not have teeth, so they cannot chew their food. However, the mouth contains glands that secrete saliva, which wets the feed to make it easier to swallow. Also, the saliva contains enzymes, such as amylase, that start the digestion process. The chicken uses its tongue to push the feed to the back of the mouth to be swallowed. The esophagus is a flexible tube that connects the mouth with the rest of the digestive tract. It carries food from the mouth to the crop, and from the crop to the proventriculus. The crop is an outpocketing of the esophagus, and is located just outside the body cavity in the neck region. Swallowed feed and water are stored in the crop until they are passed to the rest of the digestive tract. When the crop is empty or nearly empty, it sends hunger signals to the brain so that the chicken will eat more. Although the digestive enzymes secreted in the mouth began the digestion process, very little digestion takes place in the crop. It is simply a temporary storage pouch. The crop evolved for birds that are typically hunted by other animals, but need to move to the open to find feed. These birds can consume relatively large amounts of food quickly, and then move to a more secure location to digest that food. Occasionally, the crop becomes impacted, or backed up. This problem, called crop impaction, crop binding, or pendulous crop, can occur when a chicken goes a long time without feed and then eats too much too quickly when feed is available again. Crop impaction also can occur when a chicken free ranges on a pasture of tough, fibrous vegetation, or eats long pieces of string. With crop impaction, even if a chicken continues to eat, the feed cannot pass the impacted crop. The swollen crop also can block the windpipe, causing the chicken to suffocate. The esophagus continues past the crop, connecting the crop to the proventriculus. The proventriculus, also known as the true stomach, is the glandular stomach where digestion primarily begins. Hydrochloric acid and digestive enzymes, such as pepsin, are added to the feed here and begin to break it down more significantly than the enzymes secreted by the salivary glands. At this point, however, the food has not yet been ground. This organ is called the proventriculus, because its location in the digestive tract is before the ventriculus, where food is ground. The ventriculus, or gizzard, is a part of the digestive tract of birds, reptiles, earthworms, and fish. Often referred to as the mechanical stomach, the gizzard is made up of two sets of strong muscles that act as the bird's teeth, and has a thick lining that protects those muscles, see Figure 5. Consumed feed and the digestive juices from the salivary glands and proventriculus pass into the gizzard for grinding, mixing, and mashing. When allowed to free range, chickens typically eat small stones. The acidic environment in the proventriculus softens the stones, and then the strong muscles of the gizzard grind them into tiny pieces. The stones remain in the gizzard until they are ground into pieces small enough to pass to the rest of the digestive tract. The small intestine is made up of the duodenum, also referred to as the duodenal loop, and the lower small intestine. The remainder of the digestion occurs in the duodenum, and the released nutrients are absorbed mainly in the lower small intestine. The duodenum receives digestive enzymes and bicarbonate to counter the hydrochloric acid from the proventriculus, from the pancreas, and bile from the liver via the gallbladder. The digestive juices produced by the pancreas are involved primarily in protein digestion. Bile is a detergent that is important in the digestion of lipids and the absorption of fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K. Heseca, plural form of cecum, are two blind pouches located where the small and large intestines join. Some of the water remaining in the digested material is reabsorbed here. Another important function of the ceca is the fermentation of any remaining coarse materials. During this fermentation, the ceca produce several fatty acids as well as the 8 B vitamins, thiamine, riboflavin, niacin, pantothenic acid, pyridoxine, biotin, folic acid, and vitamin B12. Because the ceca are located so close to the end of the digestive tract, however, few of the produced nutrients are absorbed and available to the chicken. Large intestine, colon. Despite the name, the large intestine is actually shorter than the small intestine. The large intestine is where the last of the water reabsorption occurs. In the cloaca, the digestive wastes mix with wastes from the urinary system, urates. Chickens usually void fecal material as digestive waste with uric acid crystals on the outer surface. That is, chickens do not urinate. The color and texture of chicken fecal material can indicate the health status of the chicken's digestive tract. The white, pasty material coating chicken fecal material is uric acid, the avian form of urine, and is normal. The reproductive tract also exits through this area. When a hen lays an egg, the vagina folds over to allow the egg to leave through the cloaca opening without coming into contact with feces or urine.
And that should include part 3 of the Dietary Law, the clean versus the unclean. I was thinking, will I be able to add additional scriptures with this part? Something told me no. So because of time consuming, we're going to save the rest for part 4. It looks like it's going to be a part 5. Seeing that we stopped at verses 23. Not 23. We stopped at verses 21. 22, 23, that's going to be on the locusts, grasshoppers, beetles. I got feeds and videos for that. So I'm definitely going to save that for part 4. But everything I showed you is just more so in depth of the dietary law, where I showed you the unclean animals, of the fowls of the air, of the birds, the eagles, and then I show you the clean animals. Pretty much I did a breakdown of the chicken. I didn't really touch on the turkey because the similarities is much similar to the chicken, so I left it as that. But I will do everything that I left out, like in part 1, I left out information, for in details on the scales and the fins. Even though I showed you a video of a clean fish, but I didn't do it in details in depth of that. So that's going to be included in part 4. The same thing whatever I do not include in those parts, they're gonna be if I have enough time for part 5. So I do apologize. So it's like I got so much going on, working, doing this and doing that, and then trying to do the video for the Bible investigation open case. But I have no problem doing it because I love it and putting together, this video so that you could watch and be intrigued and learn something that you probably didn't know. Because I learned a whole lot, especially thinking I know everything. Thinking I know enough, but I didn't know there's additional information on stuff, especially on these animals. But anywho, I'm gonna go ahead and close out. And I just want to give thanks and praise to the Almighty God. There's nothing I can say about him because he's just perfect, and I'm just grateful and that he allowed me to do this for you guys. And this is the Bible Investigation Open Case Bible Study, the Dietary Law, the Clean versus Unclean Part 3. Stay tuned for Part 4 next week. And I am your investigator, Azariah. You have a blessed day and a safe travels and happy Sabbath. Since I'm gonna be dropping this video on Friday. Well, it is already Friday. But anywho, y'all have a good one. All right, peace.